Madeline Arledge was a woman who had everyone fooled. On the surface, she appeared charming, intelligent, and utterly devoted to her husband, Thomas Arledge. She smiled, laughed, and played the role of the perfect partner with ease. But behind closed doors, Madeline was a master of manipulation, weaving a world of obsession, lies, and danger that no one could have imagined. It all began on a quiet October evening in 2003. Thomas, a devoted husband and father of two from a modest suburban neighborhood in Portland, thought he knew his wife. They had been married for 5 years, and for Thomas, life felt comfortably predictable. Little did he know, the most unpredictable element of his life was sitting across the dinner table, smiling and plotting as she always did. That evening, Madeline suggested a playful game. "Let's try something fun," she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. She produced a blindfold. "Trust me," she coaxed, and Thomas, wanting to indulge her, agreed. At first, it was innocent. Laughter, teasing touches, a moment of connection. Then, without warning, the playfulness turned into terror. Thomas felt a sharp pain in his chest. He gasped, realizing too late that the knife Madeline held was no longer part of the game. She was trying to kill him right there in their living room. Shocked and bleeding, he struggled against her, hearing her fumble for a phone and pretending to call 911. The deception was meticulous. Her calm, rehearsed voice hid the chaos of the act, even as Thomas fought for his life. That same night, Madeline had made plans with someone else, Nicholas Farrow, a man she had been seeing on the side. A fling, she insisted, but to Nicholas, it had felt more like a fleeting affair than a true relationship. She had invited him over for dinner, fully aware that Thomas's life was hanging by a thread elsewhere in the house. Her mind, methodical and unflinching, could juggle multiple deceptions at once. Help arrived just in time. After a brutal struggle, Thomas survived, rushed to the hospital with stab wounds that could have been fatal. Paramedics worked quickly to stabilize him, and police took Madeline into custody for attempted murder. Yet even as she sat in the interrogation room, her composure never faltered. She smiled politely, acting shocked, calm, and detached all at once. The investigation revealed even darker layers. Authorities traced the phone calls Madeline had made during the attack. One call had gone to Nicholas, the man she called her dream, and that would unravel a horrifying past. Police discovered that months earlier Nicholas's girlfriend, Lydia Monroe, had been found brutally murdered in her apartment. The DNA evidence tied Madeline to the scene, a damning revelation that left everyone reeling. She was not only an attempted murderer of her husband, but also a calculated killer with a trail of deception stretching months back. Madeline refused legal counsel and insisted on representing herself in court, a decision that would astonish everyone who knew her. She wove narratives, denied the evidence, and argued with such relentless confidence that observers could not discern whether they were witnessing madness or genius. She was sentenced to 25 years for attempted murder and 50 years for Lydia Monroe's murder, a sentence that reflected the sheer audacity and cruelty of her crimes. But the legal proceedings were just the surface of Madeline's obsession. Friends, neighbors, and even Thomas began to realize the extent of her manipulations. She had been stalking Nicholas for months, orchestrating meetings and coincidences to appear fated. Once, they even ended up on the same plane together, a moment she described as destiny, while Thomas was oblivious to the orchestration. Her schemes were elaborate and chilling. She would convince Thomas to leave the house for days at a time, using her mentally ill brother as an excuse. During his absence, she would meticulously clean, rearrange, and prepare the house to host Nicholas, pretending to live a normal life. Each move was calculated to maintain the illusion, to keep her husband unaware of the breadth of her deceit, and to live out her obsession with precision. Madeline's manipulation extended beyond physical proximity. She created intricate narratives, detailing her love triangle to Thomas in painstaking detail, planting seeds of confusion and curiosity while concealing the truth. Every lie was layered. Every story was a calculated trap. She controlled every angle of perception, creating a world where she was at the center, orchestrating every event. It was a world where Nicholas had no idea how deeply she had entangled him. He believed their relationship was fleeting, casual, a secret excitement. Meanwhile, Thomas was slowly piecing together fragments of her web, though none could have prepared him for the ultimate revelation. The chaos, the threats, and the murders were all extensions of Madeline's obsessive mind. Months passed, and the trial unfolded like a dark drama. Madeline appeared poised and almost serene, reading her own statements, cross-examining witnesses, and using psychological tactics that left prosecutors and jurors unsettled. Her ability to maintain calm while recounting horrific actions was unnerving, a testament to the frightening clarity with which she had executed her plans. Yet even as the court proceedings concluded, the tension never left Portland. Neighbors whispered of the strange coincidences and unexplained absences. Friends of Nicholas noticed Madeline's presence at events they had no reason to attend. The city itself seemed to hold its breath, aware that a person capable of such intricacy and deception could exist just beyond anyone's line of sight. One night, Thomas, now recovering from his injuries, received a strange message. It was not a call, not a note, but a photograph. A picture of Madeline, standing near Nicholas's favorite cafe, watching intently. Her subtle smile, almost imperceptible, conveyed the same cold precision he had seen during the attack. Thomas felt the blood drain from his face. She was still present, still watching, still orchestrating from behind the scenes. Police had assumed her capture marked the end of her influence, but it was clear that the psychological game had only just begun. Thomas could no longer trust his surroundings. Every knock on the door, every package, every stranger's glance could conceal her manipulative presence. He realized that even behind bars, Madeline's mind was untouchable, her influence persistent. In the following weeks, investigators discovered that Madeline had managed to hide digital records, letters, and evidence in locations only she knew. Her careful planning suggested that she had considered contingencies for every possible outcome, including her incarceration. The depth of her genius, and the terrifying clarity of her obsession, became increasingly apparent. It was during one late evening at Thomas's home that the ultimate hint of her reach became undeniable. A subtle movement across the street caught his eye, a figure standing in the shadows. The silhouette was familiar, the posture unmistakable. Thomas's stomach turned. Madeline had been spotted, or at least someone she had sent, watching him again. The threat he had narrowly survived months ago was far from over. And then his phone buzzed. He hesitated, staring at the screen, a sense of dread curling in his chest. The message preview was enough to stop him cold. "You think this is the end, Thomas? You have no idea how close I still am." Part 2.